Hi, in this video my wife and I are going to talk to you about the mirror method. The mirror method is one of the more technical skills required to have an emotionally secure relationship. You might have heard it as reflective listening. You might have heard it under a bunch of different names. We like the name the mirror method because what you're doing is you're receiving the words and you're trying to mirror them back to your partner so that you can understand his emotions, that you can understand his feelings, so that you can understand the story in her head. Because if you can get to what your spouse's story in their head is, their emotions and how they got to meaning, you'll have understanding that will help you both find a path forward to relational equity and emotional security. I have recruited my wife, as I said. We're going to go through a couple processes. First of all, we're going to talk about just very simple mirrors. I'm going to say to her my favorite color. She might say to me her favorite color. And then we'll do some really simple, when this happens, I felt that, or some ABC methods that will mirror. And then we're going to do a real conversation for you that actually happened in our life just a few weeks ago. Okay, in this video, I've recruited my wife to help me do a few simple mirrors. We're going to do those right now. I might say to her, my favorite color is blue, to which she would reply,
your favorite color is blue?
Yes, it is. She might say to me,
do you like the Browns? Because I think they're the best football team in the NFL.
So she wants to know, do you want to know if I like the Browns? Because you feel like they're the best team in the NFL. Notice I really didn't change many of her words. I simply repeated back to her what it was I felt she was saying. We're just seeking clarity before we make a declarative statement. We might say something in an ABC method like this. Erica, when you yell at me because the dog pooped in the living room, I feel like you're taking your anger out on the wrong person.
You feel like I'm taking my anger out on the wrong person because I'm frustrated the dog pooped.
Yes. Now, our dog didn't poop and she didn't yell at me, but that was a simple ABC method, and then she mirrored it. Do you have a simple ABC method or this, that method that you might want me to mirror?
When you get frustrated with me over the toothpaste lid not being on, I feel like you're saying it's my fault, and I want to feel like you would realize there's more than one person in the house that contributes to the toothpaste.
But it really is your fault. Notice I didn't mirror that at all. I just simply went straight declarative because that's usually our temptation. We want to argue rather than find understanding and agreement. So instead of arguing with her, what I might say is, so you feel like I'm blaming you unfairly when I get frustrated over the toothpaste lid going down in the sink drain and plugging it, which causes me no end of frustration. Notice again, I started out well, but then I went off the track. This is very common. If you're going to be serious about how you communicate with your spouse and you want to mirror to her, there's going to be more than one time, probably more than 5 or 10 or 15 times, where you start mirroring and then you just kind of veer off the track like a car on a snowy road. It's okay. Just come back and get it right. So here we're going to do it right all the way to the end this time. So you're saying, if I hear you right, that you're a little bit frustrated when I get frustrated with you over the toothpaste lid. I forgot what I was talking about. Over the toothpaste lid being off the toothpaste because you feel like I'm blaming you and not taking into consideration that it could be one of our kids who did that. Is that right?
Yes, because there's 3 other people who live in our house, and I'm not the only one that brushes.
Can I ask a clarifying question here, folks? Don't we have 4 kids? Where's the 4th kid live?
He doesn't always brush his teeth.
There you go. Notice I interrupted, but see, you can have fun with this when you practice, right? She was continuing to go on and explain to me, and I'm going to mirror what she said even though I rudely interrupted her. So you're saying because there's other people in the house, I need to take those into consideration. Is that right?
Yes, because we have 3 other girls that use the toothpaste, not just me.
So there's 3 other girls that use the toothpaste too, not just you.
That's correct.
All right, notice she basically said the same thing 3 times, but I kept giving her more space until we got down to that's correct. I could say to her, would it be all right with you if I told you what's really going on in my head when I'm expressing it to you? In other words, I'm getting permission from her to make a declarative statement. A lot of times when I teach this in my counseling room or we teach it at a conference, when people come back, one of the questions that they often have to me is, okay, so we got the this, that method down, we got the ABC method down, and then we mirror, but then what? How do we get to a conclusion? Right? Because remember, what we want to do is we want to figure out how do we enter into the circle of conflict, how do we stay there until the problem's solved, and then how do we get out without leaving wounds. One of the ways that we do this is we ask for permission to move forward. Right? So I might say to her, would it be all right if I told you what's really going on when I'm expressing frustration about the toothpaste lid?
Yes.
She says yes. I'm really just kind of talking out loud. It's not that I blame you. I fully suspect that it's one of the girls. I'm usually just saying it's frustrating, and I'm talking out loud. In other words, The story in her head about what's going on is completely different than the story in my head, and we just got there. If this was a real conversation, it could go for a long time, and a lot of times that's another kind of pushback that I hear is, well, it feels like these conversations go longer. To which I always respond, they may go just as long or even a little bit longer than your old dysfunctional conversations, but they don't leave wounds. Isn't that better? All right, now we're going to do a real conversation that actually happened in our family a few months ago, probably about 6 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks ago. We were planning, I try to plan out our getaways for the year, and my wife kept bringing it back to family vacation. Well, family vacation, family vacation, family vacation. And so we're going to pick this conversation up midstream where I'm going to say to her, what about this place? And she's going to say, well, what about family vacation? And then we're going to go through the ABC method and the mirror method, and we're going to try to put it all together for you. All right, here we go. Ready? So what about if we went to our favorite vacation spot over Memorial Day weekend?
Well, that might work, but when we were going to take the kids on vacation this year, so if we go for Memorial Day weekend, we don't always get a lot of vacation time over the summer because of the way it flows. So when are we going to do the family vacation with the kids?
Okay, so I kind of have this thing running in the back of my head, kind of a story in my head that's a little bit frustrating right now because I feel like this is probably the 5th or 6th date that I've brought up to you for us to get away. And in all of them, you've brought it back to the family vacation, which we've not missed a family vacation in order to go on the just us vacation. And I feel like this is important, maybe as important as the family vacation, for us to be healthy so that we can be healthy for our kids. Is it not important to you? Now notice, I'm going to call time out here before she responds. I used the this, that method and that story in my head that I talked to you about. And then I asked her a question. She can mirror me before she answers the question. A lot of people will feel temptation to want to answer the question because it was the last thing their partner said. But the good listening spouse will mirror first, then answer the question. Okay, time in. Is it not important to you?
You feel like it's not important to me because I'm asking you when we could have the family vacation instead of saying, yes, let's nail down our time together. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so because like to me, if we're going, if we, and we've made this statement that we believe the best thing for our kids is for you and I to be as healthy as possible. So if we're trying to nail down dates for us to get away, and we want to make sure that we get away. Last year we went in the middle of July. And I thought we kind of settled that for family vacation this year. We wanted to go a little bit cooler time since we're camping. It would seem to me that Memorial Day would be the perfect weekend. But every weekend I bring up to you, it's kind of like, I feel like you've kind of had a pushback to.
So you feel like I'm pushing back on all your suggestions, and you look at it like in order for us to be healthy, that should be our priority over family vacation time because we need to get away, and you're just trying to come up with a good solution so we can go camping when it's cooler out and not so hot. Is that what you're saying to me?
Okay, time out. So this is always a really interesting point in the conversation because here what's going on is what she just said is not actually what I'm feeling at all. I don't feel that our vacation, our time away is more important than the family vacation. I feel they're equally important, but at some point you got to pick and just pick and choose. And so I'm actually frustrated because I feel like we as human beings make time for what's important to us. And so you're going to have to pick, and every choice that you make limits other choices. And so that's really what the frustration that I'm feeling, and that's what I want to convey to her. Okay, time back in. That's not quite what I'm saying or feeling. What I'm saying is, we have to pick and choose because you make time for what's important for you. And if us getting time away is important to us, then we've got to nail that down and do the family vacation. But I kind of feel like, well, we picked this time for the family vacation. That's what we're shooting for, and now we're picking this in, which is fine. But every time I bring it up, it's like, well, we got to hold that in reserve in case this doesn't work out for the family vacation, which I don't understand.
So you feel like I'm trying to do an either or, and all you're saying is it can be a both and we can nail down both.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
The time you and I spend together, it should be at a higher priority, but not at the stake of our family.
At the expense of our kids.
Yes.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yep. Yeah, and notice now we're starting to both talk at the same time in agreement. Well, a lot of times I'll talk to people about you don't want to talk over your spouse. You don't want to start not finish a sentence. But when they're in agreement, that's called kind of building a common cause. And even there was a phrase, quite honestly, that she said that I was like, no, in my head, I'm not saying it has to be a higher priority, but I feel like, and this would be the mirror, I'm not saying it has to be a higher priority, I just feel like we've settled the family vacation, at least the target dates, and so now we need to settle our time away, and if the family vacation date moves, well then this date that we pick for us won't be able to be chosen for that. There's got to be some firmness with some flexibility.
Do you feel like there needs to be some firmness and flexibility and that we can do both?
Yes, absolutely. And so the conversation, oops, you wanted to say something.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like I heard you?
I do.
Okay. I don't want you to all think I don't want to get time away with you. I just always feel like you and I can be more flexible than our family vacations with the kids. But I understand what you're saying now. And
Okay.
I do want to spend time with you.
All right. So there, what she did was she got permission to say, hey, can I tell you what I'm thinking? And quite honestly, this conversation can go for a long time. This will become a very long video. Because then I would say to her, so you're saying that you feel like we as a couple can be more flexible than the family vacation. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
That would actually be a point of disagreement between the two of us. I'd actually push that the family vacation could be more flexible. Because of how we typically do family vacations and just the way our life is planned. So that would be a fun conversation that I don't think we've had before this moment right here on camera. So you'll never get to know how that conversation ends because we're going to end the video here. I'd love for you to practice this. I'd love for you to video yourself practicing it and upload it to our Facebook page so we can see it. We'll give you feedback. We'll tell you about it. It would be a lot of fun. Pick a topic that's safe. Pick a topic that you don't mind people hearing about if you do upload it to our Facebook page. Make sure you tag us in it if you upload it to your page. We want you to practice this. We want you to get better at it. The better you get at this, the better your relationship will be. And the truth is, if you've been to a counselor, they've done this with you and you've never noticed. They're usually seamless in it if they're skilled. Is there anything you want to add before we end?
No, but if they upload the video, there might be a contest in it, I would say.
Ever the marketer. All right, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to look at the study questions for this chapter. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Joe Martino. Facebook is facebook.com/Joe Martino Counseling. And my webpage is however many W's you need to put in, 3 I believe, joemartino.com. And she is at ericamartino.com. Thanks so much and we'll see you on the next video.